Hi, I'm Mike. I make music as domestic scene, and today I'm going to do my first SMT build. Today I'm building the Delay version 2 by ST Modular, and if you don't know ST Modular, you should definitely check him out. As far as I know, it's just one dude, but he has an extensive line of modules that he's designed. But the thing is, none of them are available as built modules. You can't just buy one. You have to build them, or you have to buy them from somebody that's built one. This particular project, the Delay, is pretty small. The main board is not that big. There's not a ton of parts to put on there, but the ones that are there are, you know, for the most part, there's like a big bank of resistors there. It's all really tiny, and then a few electrolytic capacitors and ICs, which are through-hole, which is a little bit more comfortable for me. But that's the bulk of it. It's pretty simple. It's a 2 HP analog delay based on the PT2399 chip, which is really common in a ton of pedals and other delays. So yeah, it's nothing fancy, but it's, I think, a good beginner project for me going into surface mount soldering for the first time. In the future, I'm sure that I'll get into much more complicated ones, but if this goes well, I think it'll help me build up the confidence to take on some really more interesting modules in the future. Just for perspective, this is a euro, two euro cents. I think that's about the size of a US penny, and there's 10 ferrite beads on this strip, so you can see how small these are. I have a few options for how to do the soldering. I have actually a hot air station, but I kind of want to just try the method where you put a little bit of solder on one of the pads, heat it up, and stick the component on, anchor the one side, and then solder the other side. I think a little bit of flux is probably a good idea. So I've put a really narrow tip on my soldering iron too. Hopefully that helps me have some control. That wasn't too bad. Components on. And it looks okay. So I guess we just continue on with that. Try to get all of these, the 2 ferrite beads, all of the resistors and the capacitors on. I think after I'm done with these ferrite beads, I'm actually going to switch to this small IC here, because I think that's probably the hardest component on this whole board. So I'd rather try to get that out of the way before I get too far. I guess what we can try doing is dragging some solder across there and trusting the flux. I'm going to take a close look at that before I do the other side. That actually looks good. Okay. So really the flux is just helping all of the solder flow onto the pins and the contacts. You can kind of see that the pins are taking it up because the sheen changes when the solder gets on there. So I'm going to turn the cameras off and clean this all up and take a look before I go any further. So awesome, yeah, I'm not seeing any bridges on that. Everything seems like it's connected well. Unless there's something worth talking about, I'll go fast forward for a bit and we'll see where we get. So I have all my resistors in. It's probably hard to see on the board, but there's resistors on there. And yeah, so I've decided that probably as I move on to the capacitors, it's not a bad idea for me to try using solder paste and a hot air station since I have it. I want to know if using solder paste and the hot air station is easier, if that's worth it, and so I'm going to give that a shot. And then yeah, once I have a little bit of experience with both methods, then I'll just make my mind up about what I prefer and go forward from there. So yeah, so in a certain way that was better. I tried it out just with one of the components, and yeah, it was okay. You got to be kind of careful when you're putting the hot air on it. I accidentally just heated one side of it up, so then when that solder paste melted, it kind of sucked the component vertical, which was kind of tough. So then I had to push that back down. I had to put the air back on it and then take tweezers and push the component back down. Yeah, I might keep trying it, but know that this is a practice round for me, so yeah. So now we're back to just good old through-hole parts. So this should go pretty quick. I think it's just some electrolytic capacitors, IC socket and IC, and then pots and jacks, and yeah, I'll rock it out.